Hi, my name is Elvira Boulet from the Dimitrov Boulet Piano Duo, and welcome to another Music Fundamentals class. In this class, I'm going to discuss musical ornaments, and specifically I'm going to walk you through 3 common musical ornaments that you would often meet when you're playing music. So the first ornament we're going to look at today is the Mordant, and we're going to look at the Grand Valse Brilliant Opus 34 number 3 by Chopin in order to explore it a little further. Let's explore the first part in which we see a Mordant, which is this one. And you see here an F and a Mordant written above it. So first you play the F, then you play one note above the F, and then you play the F again. So if it was written on the A, you would be playing the A, one note above the A, and then ending again with the A. So whatever note the Mordant is written on top of, you start on the note itself, you go one note up, and then you end on the note itself again. And once you know it, it's pretty simple. A Mordant is supposed to go pretty fast. So it would be something like that. But as always, you should first start with practicing slowly. The best recommendation that I can give for ornaments in general is ornaments are supposed to be beautiful. And I remember studying in the conservatory asking my teacher about this, and she said that actually you shouldn't be playing them really, really fast. Like, that's not the goal. The goal is to play them musically and beautifully. Like, they're part of the melody. They're just lighter. You obviously play them lighter because they're like a variation, like an improvisation before the main note. You know, we as pianists, we cannot do vibrato, we cannot do a crescendo on a note, but with ornaments we can play around, give some texture and get some interest in the note. We do that with ornaments. So I think one of the main things people feel is that ornaments should be really, really fast, but I would actually advise that you first play them as beautifully as possible. If you can speed them up after that, that's great. But the main thing, the first thing, is you should play them as beautiful as possible. I never ever play my ornaments at top speed because they simply become meaningless. And I like them to sound beautiful. So first work on beauty, work on them to be musical. So first work that they sound beautiful, that it sounds light, and then you can speed it up. And make sure that your hand is relaxed, otherwise your ornament will get stuck. Let's look at it in the whole passage actually. I don't know the piece, so I'm just sight reading it now, which is, as you know, a really great exercise. So that's how the ornament would sound. So without the ornament is... And then with the Mordant it is... So that's our first ornament, and let's now start to explore our second ornament, which is the turn. So let's jump to our second ornament, which is the turn. And for this, I'm going to choose the piece, the second movement of the Pathetique Sonata by Beethoven. Now here we see a turn, and the turn is very nice, very beautiful. It's a bit more complex than the Mordant. So for the turn, we're going to start on the note above which the turn is written, which is the D in this case. Then we're going to start one note above the D, and since this has 4 flats, we're not starting on the E, but we're starting on the E flat. Then we're going back to the note itself, then we're going one note lower, and then once again we're going back to the note itself. As you notice, for the Mordant and the turn, we're coming back to the note itself, the note above which the ornament is written. So we start on the note itself one more time, we go one up, then back to the note, one down, and then back to the note itself. So and that would be, if you, of course, you have to do it a bit faster, right? Practice slowly first, but then gently speed up. So in the bar itself, it would sound something like this. And because I was already on the note, I don't play the note again, as you would have noticed, right? I was already holding the D. So once again, I've already played the D. So I start on the E flat already, because I have already played it. Let's do the bar after that as well. I'll show you another example. So this time it is written on the F, above the F, as you see. So we're going to start on the F, and then we're going to go one note up, back to the F again, one note down. And because as you notice, I'm playing an E now, and I just told you, like, well, the piece has 4 flats, you have to play the E flat. But as you notice, under the turn, there's written a little, oh, what's that called? I don't know the word for it in English. So that it a natural, I think it's called. So it's written there to indicate that the lower note, in this case the E, right? That's the note under, the lower note under the main note. Let's call it the main note. Under the F, it is actually an E natural instead of an E flat. And sometimes you will notice that there's written, so above the mordant something, either a sharp, a flat, or a natural, or below. So if it's written above, it's indicating the note above the main note, which would be the G in this case. And if it's written below the mordant, and if it's written below the turn, then it would indicate that it's about the note below the main note, which in this case is the E. So the turn, in other words, one more time, the turn starts on the main note, goes one up, back to the main note, one down, back to the main note, and that a little bit faster, like that. And if there are written any accidentals above, they would influence the note above the main note, and if there's written any accidentals below the turn, then they would be influencing the note below the main note, which in this case is the E. Okay, and let's explore how that sounds now in the bar. So that sounds really nice. It really gives some extra interest. It would be kind of boring if you would be only... So as you see, really gives it some extra interest. Okay, so that's it for our turn, and let's go to our last musical ornament, which is the trill. And for the trill, I've chosen the Sonata Facile in C major by Mozart. And I've chosen it specifically because I remember it was one of my first, if not my first, actual long trills that I had to play together with my left hand. And I remember how difficult it was for me. So that really made an impact. I wanted to share that with you. As you can see, there are two different notations of trills in this piece. So a trill is just kind of like a mordant, right? But it would be longer. So you're just kind of repeating these notes. So you're starting on the main note, and in some trills you would, by the way, start one note above the main note. If you have any questions specifically about trills in your piece, where to start, please leave a comment below. So you, instead of a mordant just once, going back and forth, you would be going back and forth for the complete length of the note. So in this case, that is a dotted 8 notes. And you end on the main note. So that's one notation of the trill, and that's often used for shorter trills. The other notation that you often see is the notation you see in bar 25, which is a trill, the TR, but with a wavy line. And the wavy line is an indication of how long they want you to trill. And also what you see here is something that's very common, that the ending of a trill, that you end the trill. So in bar 15, we didn't end the trill, we just ended on the main note. But often, especially with longer trills, you would end the triller with 2 grace notes. For example, in bar 25, so remember, we're starting on the note and we're trilling by just playing the note up, the note above our main note, and the main note. So that's what we're doing, just a little faster. And then the ending, it's written G-A, so that would sound... And just a little tiny trick for those of you who have trouble with trills is to start your trill a bit slower. Because one of the most common problems with trills or ornaments or anything like that is actually that your hands get tense, that your hands kind of block. And I see that very often, like students can play the trills by themselves, but when they're playing them in the piece and they know the trill's coming, they kind of tense up. So one little trick not to tense up is just to start it slower. It also sounds very musical, by the way. Okay, so that's it for trills. We've talked about mordants, we've talked about turns, and we've talked about trills in this lesson. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. And please, if you're not subscribed yet, don't forget to subscribe, because that will really help us grow this channel. I wish you good luck with your practice, and I'll see you next time.